All right, Mike, we're going to have an all-time first on the show this week, right now.
What do we got?
We're going to make a cocktail live.
Let's go.
Because it's the perfect day for it. You know, today is the official Dark and Stormy day, right? And Dark and Stormy is the official drink of the 19th hole.
So it's perfect.
Perfect. So we've got Malcolm Gosling Jr. We're going to bring on the show in a second. That is the Malcolm Gosling of Gosling Rum, which is, of course, as you know, the proper way to make a Dark and Stormy. Gosling Rum, Gosling Ginger Beer. We've got it all here. We're going to go through it, but we're going to talk to him about the company, which is 8 generations now, 8 generations old, but really dive into their involvement with the game of golf, the massive setup that they have at the Bear Trap.
Right, at the Honda.
The Honda Classic every year, how they got involved in that. Also, just Bermuda being just like such a golf hotspot.
Yeah, right.
You know, and it's one that's been on our short list for a long time to go and play.
Yeah, we got to get over there, man.
We got to. So we'll talk to him a little bit about that. But I know he's a golfer himself, so I'm excited for this interview. And hopefully, if it inspires you, if you're looking for a drink to unwind with today, or really any day you're listening to the podcast, not everybody's listening to it the day it comes out, but as of today, the podcast coming out, it's the official day.
Yeah, and someone DM'd the other day and said, be careful with those. Not only are they delicious, but they're dangerous.
They are. They are. I know you haven't had one. I've had
yet.
one before. And they're dangerous because, you know, when something is too drinkable, like it's really smooth. It's really good. And it's not a hard drink to make, which, I won't give away any secrets.
Okay.
I'm going to have him walk us through how to make it. But it's basically 3 ingredients if you don't include the ice.
Yeah.
2 ingredients really if you don't include the garnish. It's very easy to make.
Okay.
But it comes out really great. So let's do a quick word from our sponsors, and then we're going to dive right into our interview today with Malcolm Gosling Jr. of Gosling Rum. All right, guys, let's be honest. We all have different ability levels and goals in our golf game, but one thing we share is the desire to bring our best every single time we tee it up. And it all starts with choosing a golf ball you can trust. The Pro V1 is the best combination of speed, spin, and feel in the game. And the X gives you that higher flight and that firmer feel. But the nice part, Mike, both have that long distance, that consistent flight, that soft feel that so many of us are after, but all important, that drop and stop greenside control. You and I have played some really fast and firm greens lately.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's the difference in a stroke or two if you can hold that green. We both recently, you know, in the past year or so, were fit for golf balls. We did our Titleist fitting. I fit to the Pro V1, you fit to the Pro V1X. It's amazing how much that's an individual golfer thing. It really depends on that trajectory, that feel. But either way, you know, anything in that lineup, you're getting that performance. So whether you're Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, or Nelly Korda competing at the game's highest level, or simply striving to be the best you can be, tee up that Pro V1 or Pro V1X and always bring your best.
And guys, this podcast is sponsored by Gosling's Rum. I mean, they're the creator of the Dark and Stormy cocktail. And Frank, today is the official Dark and Stormy day. They are the official cocktail of the 19th hole. How cool is that? So we're going to celebrate today being June 9th, Dark and Stormy day, with Malcolm coming on the show. But let me just tell you about Dark and Stormy day, because this is the day that Gosling's Rum celebrates all of their fans, all of their super fans across the world who have made the Dark and Stormy one of the most popular cocktails on the planet. I mean, it's the delicious combination. Here's your ingredients of the smooth Gosling's black rum.
We're giving it away. We're giving away the secret sauce.
And the spicy Gosling's Stormy ginger beer, which is here in this cans, which you're going to see in a second. But, you know, it can't be beat. I mean, you got to check it out for yourself. Visit goslingsrum.com, or you can go to darkandstormy.com. But you could shop some of their sweet limited edition golf merch that they just dropped. They got some really cool stuff that just landed. And you can order the alcohol itself right on their website. It'll come right to your door. And now you can receive $15 off. I mean, that's a lot of money off a bottle of alcohol. So $15 off your order of Gosling's Rum, or the ginger beer, or those cool Dark and Stormy pre-mades, right?
As much as it's easy to make, if you really want to make your life easy.
There's your shortcut right there.
There's your shortcut right there.
So those are
it's
already
all there.
in the can. Guys, use the promo code Golficity, all caps, to put that at checkout. Offer valid through August 31st, 2022. 21 or older. Drink responsibly. Go check out Gosling's and all the stuff that they have.
And speaking of which, 100%, we love what they do with the game. We appreciate them supporting the podcast and sponsoring this week's show. And we said, you know what? not only just sponsoring, let's get Malcolm on the show. Let's talk about it. Let's dive in and get some of that history. So let's jump right into it now. Let's get back to our interview with Malcolm Gosling Jr. We're going to talk about the dark and stormy. All right, we got an exciting one today. We've got 8th generation Gosling, Malcolm Gosling Jr. on the show. Malcolm, welcome to the Golf Podcast.
Hey guys, thank you. How's it going?
It's going great, and the timing couldn't be better. Dark and stormy day today, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, happy dark and stormy day.
Happy dark and stormy day. The official drink of the 19th hole.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
or the end of the first and the 6th, however you're playing.
Exactly.
Why limit yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, we've got everything here. We're gonna have you, walk us through. We're gonna make a dark and stormy here on the show. But first, we got a lot to talk about because, really, Gosling is something that's gone hand in hand with golf for a while. I know you're an avid golfer yourself. We're going to talk about Bermuda as far as a spot for golfers, and even with your involvement with the PGA Tour and other golf events. So we've got a lot to cover, but let's first start with yourself. I know, and I've heard things, you're quite the golfer yourself. Do you get to get out there and play often or what?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I do golf. My playing partner, I just played in the member guest at Mid-Ocean down in Bermuda. He would agree with me when I say that too.
That's great.
Too busy selling rum. But yeah, growing up in Bermuda, it's a very popular sport down there. So really played it since I was like 12 years old. Yeah, love it. Try to get out as much as I can.
It's a bit of, I would imagine, a little bit of a golf heaven down there. For a a smaller spot, there's got a lot of golf courses squeezed in, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it still has the most golf courses per square mile than anywhere else in the world. Bermuda is a tiny island. It's only 21 square miles, 65,000 people. And we have 7 golf courses.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I was going to say, how would you rank them? What's like the premier course out there in Bermuda?
So I'm biased here because I'm a member of Mid-Ocean.
Yep.
Which is actually celebrating their centennial. So it's a Charles Blair McDonald course.
Wow.
Beautiful. It's tough. It's like, because of the wind, you get a different course every time you play it. There's that. And then Port Royal, which is a championship course as well, which hosts the Bermuda Championship, the PGA tournament in October.
Yeah.
Which went under a complete renovation probably 6 years ago. Another beautiful course, tough course. Again, wind just comes into play when you're basically a rock in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Mm-hmm. You get like gusts of wind that come out of nowhere, squalls. So it's like,
it's got to be a hard place to play the sport. Are all of those courses pretty much ocean lined, or most of the fairways out there, or is there any inland that don't have those views?
Yeah, there's some holes will go inland, but 2 holes later, you're looking at the ocean again, and somehow the wind never seems to leave you. It doesn't matter how close you are to the ocean or not.
How's the weather otherwise? Is there, if a lot of people, I'd imagine, are listening and thinking about it as a spot to go and travel and play, is there a time of year that's ideal for someone who's putting it like a golf-centric trip to Bermuda?
Yeah, I would say May is really good. So our golf season, even though Bermuda, it doesn't really have a winter.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It does get a little bit colder, a little bit windier. Bermuda never really gets below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, never gets above 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's my kind of place.
Dude, come on. Ideal.
Yeah,
what about hurricanes, Malcolm? Do you get hurricanes a lot?
Yeah, hurricanes will come between end of August through October.
All right, so you stay away from booking trips for that.
Yeah, but again, it's like we don't really see that many. Yeah. It all depends on the year, and then even because we are so small in the middle of the Atlantic, it could be coming right for us, and then takes like a tiny turn and it misses us completely.
Right.
But our golf season runs from October through April. So that's when you really,
season. Yeah.
Yeah. In the summertime, it's great to play, especially if you don't mind the heat, even though it won't get above 90. You're dealing with a lot of humidity and you're like sweating by the second hole. So
Yeah.
you go in like middle of August, but in our golf season, that's when you really get all of the elements. And that's why Bermuda golf and mid-ocean are so challenging. Like I played a tournament there in I think it was February or March, and it was a 3-day tournament. The first day was beautiful, like sunny, 80 degrees. The second day, it was still pretty nice out, but 40, just under 40 knot winds.
Wow.
And then the third day, it was like Scotland. It was like 60 degrees and rainy.
So
but it was
day to day, that much variation.
Yeah. But I mean, I really like September. April, May is beautiful. But you really can't miss. I mean, if you don't mind a little sun while you play, like any time during the summer is great.
I can only imagine. And none of us take up the game because we don't want to challenge, you know.
Right.
Golfers, we all love a little bit of abuse. So a little bit of wind backed by some ocean views. I think it's hard to complain in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about the company itself, because we said 8 generations.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going way back.
We're going back to 1806. So it was started by my 6th great grandfather, James Gosling. And he actually owned a wine and spirit shop in London, England. And he wanted to expand to the New World, to Virginia, to America. And so he chartered a boat called the Mercury, which was this giant old, tall ship basically, and stocked it with 10,000 pounds sterling worth of wines and spirits that he had back in England. And back then, 10,000 pounds sterling, that was a lot. So
it sounds like putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being the brave man that he was, he stayed back in England, watched over his little shop, sent his 19-year-old son on this cross-Atlantic mission. And so he had 90 days to get from London, England to Virginia. And after 91 days, he was nowhere near Virginia. And he blamed it on naval blockades and lack of wind. I think it had something to do with the amount of booze that he had on board, and he was just having a little bit too much fun.
As it would, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Our brand director in Bermuda likes to call it the world's first booze cruise.
There you go.
And so he was forced to either go back to England or get dropped off the nearest British port, which was this tiny little rock in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, about 800 miles off of Virginia, and St. George's, Bermuda. And so he got unceremoniously dumped off right there in St. George's. And rather than carrying on to Virginia, he opened up a shop 200 yards from where he docked the boat, or got dumped off. And rather than selling it off and then keep on going, he noticed the demand was there, a lot of thirsty Bermudians. And he told his brother to come down with another boat full of booze 6 months later. And the rest is history. We still have that exact same store in St. George's. And we are Bermuda's oldest privately owned business. And now with Gosling's Black Seal, we're Bermuda's largest export.
Wow.
Maybe just stayed there. You knew the weather was going to be better than going on to Virginia. Maybe you're a future golfer at heart in there. But so, and I know throughout the years, there's been a lot, even the Black Seal itself, I believe, has a little bit of a story to it. Isn't that somewhere around World War I? There was a story. I remember hearing something about the champagne bottles. Tell us about that. Yeah.
So when James and then eventually his brother Ambrose came to meet him in Bermuda, when they first got to Bermuda, they didn't have any rum. It was mainly just like refined wines, whiskey, stuff that you would find in Europe at the time. And they noticed right away that there's a huge demand for rum, mainly because Bermuda is just a natural stopping point for sailing boats going up from the Caribbean or over from America over to England and Europe. And the sailors love rum, obviously. The locals in Bermuda, they got a taste for it from the boats that were passing by. So James and Ambrose spent a couple years going around the Caribbean trying to find the best rums that they could find and how they did it. and kind of like mastering the art of making rum. And kind of, I think it was like the mid 1800s, they had perfected a few blends, and one of the most popular blends at the time was called Old Rum. And I mean, they were not marketing geniuses. It was just the one they left. It was just the one they left longest in the barrel, decided to go with Old Rum, or maybe they were. And the way that you would go to get this rum is you would have to bring your own bottle into our store because there's no glass manufacturer on the island. So you bring it into our store and we fill it for you on draft right out of the barrel. And it sounds really cool now, kind of like growler style.
Yeah.
You do with beer, craft beer. Back then, I guess it was really inconvenient. Like people just wanted to go into a store, grab a bottle, go home, or get back on their boat. And so we started to look around and see how can we just start bottling this ourselves. And we just started to reuse every bottle we could get our hands on. And the most popular product back then in Bermuda at the time was champagne, mainly due to the British Navy being based there. And they love their champagne. I don't know why they were even based in Bermuda, but they were having way more fun than anyone else. And so we would actually bring the champagne in for them. They would drink it, and then we would pick up the empty champagne bottles, bring them back to our warehouse where we told everybody we cleaned them out. Definitely didn't. Pour the rum in. And the way that you would tell which rum was which, because we had like an amber style, like a Barbados style, and then our Old Rum was the color of the wax that we would use to reseal the cork in. And so Old Rum always got black wax. And because there was no label on it or anything, people just became accustomed for asking for the bottle with the black seal, referring to the black sealing wax.
Yeah.
We listened to this for like 50 years and realized that we're the only ones on the island calling it Old Rum. Everyone else is calling it Black Seal. And then a few years after that, my great uncle Goose Gosling created the barrel juggling seal as our logo in like 1940 as our, it's just a play on words, as you can see on our bottle there and on my shirt.
Black Seal.
And now that original blend, and this blend has not changed. This is like a secret family recipe passed down from generation to generation. And so even though the name has changed, it's still the exact same blend.
So it's the same blend, no change. These things taste exactly the same, Old and Black Seal.
No, not now.
Okay.
Just to confuse you a little more. So, yeah, the bottle and the champagne bottle now is actually, yes, the exact same blend as Black Seal, but we re-age it in hand-selected bourbon barrels that we get from Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace for an additional, or for a total of 16 to 20 years. Wow. So the youngest rum in that is 16 up to about 20. And we bottle it once a year. Each bottle is hand numbered in the year that we bottle it in. It's won like every award you can win as a rum. But it
and
really
aging, that I guess it smooths it out, gives a little bit more complexity. So that's the thinking behind the aging in that barrel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, completely changes it. And that was kind of going back to like James and Ambrose, why they called it Old Rum, and probably why it was the most popular, because the blend of Black Seal now, if I'm not confusing you guys too much, is aged itself before, just not as long as. So then we re-age it with Old Rum.
Gotcha. So I think that's so interesting. The family, recipe, it stayed in the family for so long. I can imagine the new generations of Goslings being like, when am I ready to know the recipe? Right. But the family itself and the company, as far as the involvement in the game of golf, where did that start? Because I know you now are very involved. Again, like we'll talk about a little bit about the PGA Tour and some of the other stuff, but where did the involvement in golf begin, and where did the interest begin?
So, like I said, golf's been huge in Bermuda for a long time. Mid-Ocean is celebrating their centennial this year. But my grandfather was really into golf. You go into Mid-Ocean, he's all over those boards there. And we have the same game. I'm named after him. And my dad actually he goes by Malcolm as well, but different name, just to make things really confusing once again.
Right, of course, yeah.
So he
There
was
will
really
be a test. There will be a test
Right.
after this
yeah,
podcast.
exactly. Yeah, I'm like the worst professor ever. But my dad was super into it, and so my dad was actually the one, even though Gosling's created the rum and created the business back in the 1800s, we only kept it for Bermuda. So up until my father, who was the seventh generation,
Wow.
we didn't export a thing. So he started the export company in like the late 80s, 90s, which is pretty wild to think about.
It is. It truly is. For it to stay so localized for so long.
Yeah.
And I mean, that must have been a bit of even a leap of faith for him. I mean, I'm sure he knew what he had and that it was going to be enjoyed, but to start to, it's a whole different world when you start to get into exporting and things like that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And believe me, everyone told him not to.
They didn't want the rum leaving their island, probably.
No, I've learned that I have very selfish forefathers. They want to keep all the rum to themselves. They never wanted to run out. But yeah, no, he did it, and he really took the next step in the early 2000s and created a partnership with a company in the States called Castle Brands, and moved the whole family up to Boston, outside of Boston, in the early 2000, and yeah, that's kind of what's grown it. And he loves golf. My dad, I don't know if I've met anybody who loves golf more than him. He'll tell you shot by shot of like a round that he had like 6 years ago. So that was kind of one of the ways that he was starting to market the company when he first got to Boston, was events and experiences and around golf, from member guests to I think we were one of the first sponsors of the Deutsche Bank in just outside of Boston, which I think now is the Northern Trust, which whatever is there like every other year.
So a bit of a smart business decision from a marketing standpoint, but more so getting to fulfill his dream of being around the game as much as possible.
And then after that, we did a sponsorship with IMG, which owns like 7 tournaments, PGA Tour tournaments, and some LPGA Tour tournaments. And so we were activating in all those different tournaments around the U.S. And like he got to play in the Pro-Am every single time.
Yeah.
His office is just full with all his Pro-Am pictures.
Brilliant. He found his way into those Pro-Am.
He's got a great story about playing with Ian Poulter.
Yeah.
And I think it was at the Deutsche Bank. And so he had a bunch of his buddies from Boston, like watching on the 16th hole there, the par 3. And they went to go play it. And then afterwards, they had a dark and stormy for him. So he just reached up, grabbed it. And Ian Poulter like kind of looked at it. He goes, where's mine? He goes, oh, I didn't know you guys could. He goes, don't worry about that. Goes up, gets him one. He tees off. Poulter tees off. He's already finished his on 17. He goes, can I get another one? He goes, yeah, sure. Wow. So he goes, gets him another one. And then he runs into him in the parking lot on the way out. He goes, just want to tell you, the Dark and Stormy is my new favorite drink.
That's great.
Yeah.
Leave it to Poulter. He's a character.
Yep. He really is. Yeah. And he loves Dark and Stormies. So we love him. But
and like we said earlier, the official, drink of the 19th hole. So where did that kind of originate?
I mean, just naturally.
It just happens. Right.
Yep. It just happens.
Yeah.
It is a great drink to just finish on, but I'm pretty sure Golf Magazine around that same time, or probably like 10 years ago, named it, if not number 2 behind the Arnold Palmer as the best 19th hole cocktail or drink.
Yeah, I always think of the Arnold Palmer as more of a non-alcoholic,
like a lunch drink.
Yeah,
it's
on a separate list.
Yeah, on the 19th hole, we gotta have a drink, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, from watching our content, if you guys have been watching, we've been loving the R1 from Precision Pro. But some of you ask, what else? What else does Precision Pro have? I know they have a lot of different rangefinders. They had the NX7 to the 8 to the 9. Well, guess what, guys? They now have the NX10. And what I love about this rangefinder is that it is probably the most customizable rangefinder on the planet. We're talking about, you can change the colors of it. Here we go. Thank you, Zach. Here you go. It's called, I love how they say play with style. I mean, that's exactly what you're doing. And if you're watching this podcast, this little magnetic clip on the top is customizable. Different colors. You could support different content creators. I know Random Golf Club, No Laying Up, Fried Eggs Golf, and possibly us coming soon, guys. Stay tuned. But you got to experience it for yourself. The price point, it's unbeatable. It's under $300 for a rangefinder that's packed with loads of different features, and let me tell you, it's the fastest shooting rangefinder I've ever used.
Yeah, we had it out on the course the other day, and
it's almost too fast. It gives you the number right away, right away.
It certainly does, and we even did a full first look unboxing on our YouTube channel. So definitely take a look at that. Check that out. As we said before, let's play with style. I think one of the sleekest rangefinders out there. Just you put it in your hand, that it's a sturdy rangefinder. Yeah. It doesn't feel like a toy. A lot of them feel like a toy. It's something you can rely on. It's got great optics. It's super fast, and something we haven't seen before is how customizable it is, as Mike was saying. So definitely give this one a look.
Yeah, don't forget another coupon code, Golficity. Again, you can get $20 off of non-sale items, and this is probably one of those. So definitely check it out. This just dropped yesterday. It's available for sale. Yeah, precisionprogolf.com. Remember that coupon code Golficity. Also, of course, want to thank FootJoy. The new Tour Alpha from FootJoy leads the pack as the most tech-focused, crazy comfortable, win-ready shoe in golf. The Tour Alpha is powered reimagined, and it sets the standard of stability and comfort for today's athletes who demand the most secure foundation to maximize their power. In fact, Mike, I had mine on today. Yeah. We did a little lesson with Kevin Sprecher, and I saw Sprech checking him out. He was checking him out. I saw that. He said, whoa, what do you got there? Because he just came out, and he's like, I got to make some calls. Yep. The first thing he said, he's like, I got to get some of those. Because he was even saying, as an instructor, he loves having a really stable base, and we've learned more we play this game, how much you use those ground forces. So when you have those features like that advanced stability system, I call it OPS system, it provides that support and control through the swing. It's also, of course, available in a variety of colors. You gotta love the look of these things. You look at it, this shoe to me, each shoe kind of says something different. Some look like they're very light and comfortable, and some look, this one just screams performance. You look at it and you're like, okay, that's a shoe that absolutely performs. But even with the BOA lacing, you can choose the regular lacing, a lot of different configurations, all of them, it really comes down to power and performance. So if you're someone that when you're picking your shoe, that you're putting that high premium on performance, power, being able to rotate through the ball, you got to look no further than the Tour Alpha. You can learn more about the Tour Alpha by visiting footjoy.com. And last, I want to just thank Rapsodo, the MLM, which stands for Mobile Launch Monitor. We've used it for like over a year now. I mean, we love it. It's so portable. It pops up real quick. You put your phone or iPad on it, and it gives you loads of stats. So now you can go to a range. You can practice with a purpose instead of just whacking balls out there. The Rapsodo MLM offers various insights like distance, ball speed, club speed, and launch angle, but underneath the hood, there's even more than that. There's this shot dispersion feature. You can optimize your club gapping. You can really dial in your wedges to see if you've got the right gaps there, fine tune your driver and your fairway woods. And what's great about it is not only is it inexpensive, I'll get to the price in a second, but you can use it indoors or outdoors. Yes. I know we get a lot of us Northeast guys. I mean, we get locked in the winter for about 4 to 6 months. So we put up a net in the garage, we throw this on, and now we got our own, session right there. I feel like this is going to be your grind session's best friend. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Right. And where we did the recent review and talked about the insights and how that can help you practice more like a pro would practice, a lot of the comments were people asking if they could use it indoors. Yep. And absolutely, you can use it indoors inside in a net. You need a little bit of a minimum distance for it to track that ball, but it's really adept at doing that even indoors. But as you're saying, the insights, the information that you get out of it, it's all retained in there. You go out, you have your range session, but you walk away with so much information about the flight characteristics of every shot that you're just having this new tool that you can learn so much from. And Mike, you talked about the price before. You can get the Rapsodo Mobile Launch Monitor for $399. It's $100 off if you use our coupon code Golficity MLM. Yeah, no brainer there.
So check out the Rapsodo website. Use that coupon code Golficity MLM. I think for $3.99, you just bang for your buck. Launch monitors on the market right now. That's going to be very hard to beat.
No doubt.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get right back into our interview with Malcolm Gosling Jr. And then tell me a little bit about the bear trap too. I know you've had a lot of involvement with the bear trap, Honda Classic, PGA National, the hardest stretch of, we talked about how hard it is to play golf in Bermuda with the wind. Maybe you guys love a challenge, and that's the hardest stretch of holes on the PGA Tour. So what was the involvement there?
So that's another, all of these interviews, I end up just talking about my dad. You should be doing it, but
golfer, right?
It's something that he saw early on. I think we've been sponsoring it for 12 years now. And so we've kind of grown with that tournament. And I think we took over, it was some beer tent, and it was just like ground level tent, like whatever, it was basic as you could get. And took it over, and then every year got a little bit bigger. And then this past year, I think it was close to 60,000 square feet, our structure between 16 and 17 at the Bear Trap with 2 levels. So it's wild. And I've got to see that expand over the past, 8 years or so. And it's just, there's no real tournament like it on tour. It's just such a cool crowd who like kind of dresses up. So it's like kind of like, not like as extreme as the Kentucky Derby, but like people like, it's like a social scene. It's like a classy waste management is the best.
There you go.
That's a good way to.
We're still partying. It's a really cool young crowd. And what we like best about it is that like 80% of the people aren't even watching golf. They're like more concerned about their drink.
Yeah.
Right.
Time, and then the golf is like around them. Which is cool, which is what I think people want now in an event, in any sort of event, especially a golf event, like something that's fun enough to where you can bring other people who aren't into golf as much as you are, and they'll still have a good time. And it's just
across the board, we're seeing such a revolution in the game in that way that it's becoming more of a social thing where, as you said, like outsiders to the game are coming in, whether it be at events like that, or you think now like these new venues that are opening, like Top Golfs and other ones that are this kind of like bar, golf, driving range, hangout, and I think what's so cool about that is it's exposing people to the game who otherwise might not have been. Golf has had that stigma so long of being like the stuffy sport. And we've talked to other people on the podcast about it too. And it's just like, wherever that came from, it only takes 1 or 2 experiences with the game to realize, well, it's not really like that for the grand majority. So It's cool that you say that, because it's a way that like, otherwise some people that I could think in my life who are not necessarily someone who's going to tune into the PGA Tour on the weekend might come to an event like that, have a good time, have that social setting, and the backdrop there is golf. So it's something for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And Top Golf, Pop Stroke now, which is like really cool, like elevated. It's way more than mini golf. But it's, just bringing in that whole aspect of just like hanging out outside.
Golf is becoming so much more part of this mainstream culture, and especially this leisure fun type of go out, and life is stressful enough. Like go out and have some, even as hard as the game is, there's a lot of ways to have fun with it other than that. And I think that's been, it's been huge for the game recently.
Oh yeah. And dark and stormies always help.
Always. Yeah. Doesn't matter what you shoot that day.
Right.
You could still celebrate the round the right way. We're gonna make one here in a second. Excited to do so. But I'm gonna have you walk me through it, because we've made some of our own, but I think there's no better, as far as expert to walk us through this than yourself. Mm-hmm. So I think you've even got some there prepared yourself. You've got one next to you.
I got all the tools.
Let me ask you this question. Which one is better to make? Should I go Old Rum or Black Seal?
Well, so Old Rum, even though Black Seal is great on its own, the old rum is typically a sipping rum that you'd have with a cube of ice. It makes really good like classic cocktails, like an old fashioned or Manhattan, something that really lets like the spirit shine through.
Yeah.
That's not to say you can't make it with ginger beer.
Right. I always just kind of feel like the stage stuff.
Yeah, this is more sipping.
It's like best on its own.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you lose some of that complexity when you mix.
You do. You'll lose some of it. It does taste very good.
I would imagine. Right.
All right, so we'll save this for when Malcolm
I guess
brings
if you
us
had
out
an
to
unlimited
Bermuda.
budget, you mix that however you want it. But otherwise,
No, you should drink that.
Yeah,
You should definitely drink that.
Oh, no doubt.
there's no
but
doubt.
for our mix here, we've got even our glasses set to go.
So let's go. I got to get help from our guys in the office. Dan, do me a favor. Grab the ice, and over there you'll see in that case over there. Grab us one of those cans of ginger beer.
And while he's doing that, I just want to have you explain.
Yeah,
for
let's
those
talk
who
about
are
these.
Watching the show, if you're listening, I'll just explain it. You've also now have it in a ready to drink.
Yeah.
Tell me about this, because I think where people are going to love this is if you're on the course already. You got something ready to go. But tell me about these in a can. It looks like Dark and Stormy are just pre-mixed. Is that everything ready to go?
It's everything ready to go, and something that we've actually had for a while. So the Dark and Stormy itself is actually a trademark cocktail to Gosling's, which is pretty rare. I think it's one of only 4 trademark cocktails. Probably because it's impossible to trademark a cocktail, and we were able to do it. Like the Dark and Stormy has such a history, and it's known as Bermuda's national cocktail, and we could really prove how it was first created, where it was first created, and we were able to trademark it. So the trademark for Dark and Stormy says that it has to be Gosling's Black Seal rum and Gosling's ginger beer. That's it. So it's the easiest cocktail in the world to make. It's exactly how we made those cans, or else we'd be infringing on our own trademark. So it's literally just Gosling's Black Seal rum and ginger beer.
No brainer.
In the can, 7%. But you're right. It's perfect for on the go. I find myself even like, I don't know if I'm just getting lazy with it, but I'll just like reach for that rather than mixing one, just because it does taste.
The work is done for you.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I don't even think we asked you, where originally did the name come from?
So the name came from, it was the British Navy in Bermuda. So they were stationed there. It was shortly after the First World War, and they actually brought ginger beer to Bermuda. They used ginger beer for as an ailment for seasickness for their sailors, and they just loved drinking it. So they had a ginger beer plant in Dockyard in Bermuda, and it took the locals like 2 seconds to realize that the Navy's ginger beer goes really well with the local rum. And that became a really popular drink, and people were just having, they called it, because Black Seal in Bermuda, everyone knows it outside of Bermuda as Gosling's, but in Bermuda, they call it either Black or Black Seal. So black and ginger beer was like the cocktail. And it was a dark and stormy night. This is how the legend goes. But it was a dark and stormy night, and I'll teach you how to make it while I tell you this.
Oh, perfect.
All right, so you want to grab your handful of ice?
Yeah, so start off with just some ice, right?
Yeah, just fill your glass up with ice.
Fill it up.
Let's get some healthy ice. It's a warm day.
Yeah. My ice is kind of melted because you guys were talking so much, but
sorry, we ruined your drink.
So yeah, it was a dark and stormy night, and the Royal British Army were at the yacht club doing what they did best, drinking our rum, and they're drinking their Black Seal and ginger beers. And one sailor who had way too much to drink goes up, tries to order another one, and the bartender kind of shuts him down, says, "No, you're cut off." Pipes back, "No." So he wouldn't shut up. So the bartender thinks he could pull a fast one past the sailor and just pours a glass of ginger beer. So I'm using Gosling's ginger beer as well. This sailor takes one sip of it, realizes there's no rum in it immediately, pipes back. The bartender backs down, so he goes, "All right." Pours some rum in there. And this sailor I'd never seen a drink being poured like this before. Usually you put the spirit first, then the mixer.
Mm-hmm.
Takes one look at it and says, "Barkeep, that looks like a storm neither a fool or a dead man would sail under." Followed by, "I'll take another dark and stormy." The name stuck. And like I said, we were able to trademark it. And it's now Bermuda's national cocktail.
I love it.
We don't even have a national anthem. National cocktail. But yeah, that's how you do it. I give it a little stir.
So you don't go.
So
you just pour the rum right in, huh?
You just pour the rum right in. You can. It's usually around 2 ounces, but all up to you.
Depends on how your round went.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a couple of limes with some teas in it for us already.
Oh, perfect.
Ooh, sorry, in the tea.
Gotta love it. Bermuda has a national cocktail and more. What do you call it? More golf per square mile than anywhere else.
What more do you need?
What
and
more?
It's only an hour and a half from like New York, from pretty much everywhere in the Northeast. It's like 2 hours from Atlanta. Hour and a half from Charlotte.
Certainly is a good looking drink. That's for sure.
Well, happy dark and stormy day. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy dark and stormy day, guys.
Let's go. This is actually my first ever dark and stormy. Frank tried it. I have yet to get there. Here we go.
I'll give it a little mix.
Yeah, otherwise you're just getting the rum, but
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that. And I'll tell you what, what are we at? What, 345, 342 episodes? This is our first
400.
400.
Wow.
Tells you how quickly I lost track.
Yep.
Our first on the show cocktail
That's right.
that
Cheers,
we've
man.
made. Cheers.
All right, here we go. One more time.
All right, show's over. We're gonna enjoy our drinks now.
Yeah, I mean, like both good and dangerous.
This is delicious, refreshing too.
Yeah.
I love the way those two go together. The rum has like that little bit of sweetness, and it goes with that ginger beer and that lime.
Yeah.
It's just
And that's a
for a
big part
simple
of why.
cocktail. It works so well.
Exactly. It tastes like there's a lot more ingredients in it than there actually is. But that's why we continue to like protect the trademark of the dark and stormy. It's not to say that other rums don't taste good with ginger beer. It's just as soon as you replace Gosling's Black Seal with anything else, it's a completely different cocktail.
Right.
Not to say it's good or bad or whatever. It's just different. And so with the cocktail that has that much history and you have an entire island kind of owning that cocktail, it's something that we definitely fight for.
I can only imagine.
Enough so.
Beer too. You make the ginger beer as well.
We do. We created Gosling Stormy ginger beer to make obviously the perfect dark and stormy, and it's just really well balanced. It's not too spicy. You find a lot of ginger beers out there, especially like the Jamaican ginger beers that really burn the back of your throat because it's just so powerful with the ginger, or it's really sweet because it's trying to balance out. It's a balancing act with ginger beer because the ginger is so spicy.
Right.
And so the only way to kind of cut that is by adding some sugar to it. And so creating that perfect balance is key. But yeah, and so we're actually the largest selling ginger beer in the U.S. I wish it was all going in dark and stormies, but I guess there's another drink called Moscow Mule that's pretty popular too. But but the dark and stormy
this over the mule though. I've never been a big mule guy. Yeah. This is more my taste right here. But
yeah, exactly.
And as far as people who are listening, like where can they get it if they want to replicate what we've done here? What's the best way to do it?
So you could go right onto our website at goslingsrum.com, and we'll ship direct in a lot of states, but we're pretty widely distributed throughout the U.S. We're on Drizzly. Our ginger beer you can find pretty much everywhere. It's in all the Walmarts. Total Wine has both the rum and the ginger beer pretty much everywhere. But yeah, we have a store locator on our website as well. And we're actually launching, starting today, a limited edition merch drop of all the stuff. So we just through like social media, some of our photo shoots, we would add some one-offs that we've done or some merch that was made 20 years ago, and people just flood the comments with how to buy it. So we actually listened this year, and we're releasing the most requested swag items. That's going to be available for the entire month on darkandstormy.com.
That's awesome. So if anyone who's listening or watching this, let this be your sign to go make yourself a Dark and Stormy today. Celebrate the day the right way. I tell you what, this is right up my alley. After a round of golf or during a round of golf, if you're Ian Poulter, or during a round of golf a couple times like himself, this is the way to go. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or come to Bermuda.
As we were just saying,
even better.
We were talking about, we have to, as I drop that light, we were talking about a whole golfing experience, a travel series out in Bermuda one day. And if we do that, we'll reach out and you can point us in the right direction, courses, places to stay, all that stuff.
Well, we actually have a couple of our own tournaments that we do down in Bermuda. We've had the Goslings Invitational, which was started by my grandfather. We've had to put it off the past couple of years. But yeah, it's been going on. No one can really figure out when the first Goslings Invitational was. I don't know how. But yeah, it's turned into a really cool tournament. It's just stroke play, individual stroke play. Pretty much half the field is amateur, half the field is pro. They're playing for, a smaller purse. But a lot of mini tour pros come down and play in it. And they don't take it too seriously to where they're not coming to the parties after. They're all drinking Dark and Stormies after every round too. So it's a lot of fun. But we're actually about to announce the Goslings Bermuda Classic, which I wish I had a website to direct you guys to right now. But just keep an eye on it. It's going to be a 2-man team, 1 round at Mid-Ocean, 1 round at Port Royal. And then the final day is going to be a fishing tournament. So it needs to be a fishing tournament, just to mix things up a little bit.
How cool is that?
With parties every night. I mean, whenever we do any sort of golf event or anything, we focus on the parties. We know the golf's going to be good.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a really fun event, Gosling's Bermuda Classic. And that's going to be in September of this year, the 3rd week of September. So I think that's where we should start. You guys got to come down for that.
And you said that September was right in that wheelhouse for the best weather.
Oh, it's perfect. If you're not getting hit by a hurricane, it's absolutely perfect. It's 75 and sunny.
We'll play our odds. We'll take our chance.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely worth it.
That's awesome. The last one I wanted to ask you about, another tournament, was the Father's Day tournament that you do at Pinehurst.
Yeah.
I know that's another big one that's cool. Tell me the story with that.
So that was a tournament we did last year. And despite, COVID and all of that sort of stuff and, how much of a pain it was to travel, we had 45 teams, father, son, or parent-child, father, uncle. We were pretty lenient.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. We had 3 rounds at Pinehurst. We started off with a little mini tournament at the Cradle, and then we did number 4, number 1, and then ended on number 2 on Father's Day. And it was epic. Trying to remember who won it. I know who lost in the playoff. It was Ken Kennerly, who's the tournament director at, or he was the tournament director at the Honda Classic, and his son, Charlie Kennerly, who played at Wake with Zalatoris and Cam Young, which was just I played with them in the first round, and I'm we had a late night.
Different game.
We had a late night the night before. I was wearing these new shoes. They didn't really fit. I'd take my shots playing barefoot by the 9th hole, and this guy's just 3 under on his own ball at number 4 Pinehurst. It's nothing. That's when I knew my dad and I weren't going to win our tournament, which is always it's a relief. It's also something we never really have to worry about. But so this
come down to a playoff, though, huh?
It did, or yeah. No, I think it just came down to the last hole.
Okay.
Is barefoot golf something that happens a lot out in Bermuda? Do you do it often? You see people doing it?
Yeah, you see it. Yeah, you see it a fair bit.
That's cool.
I can't really get used to it.
That's gotta be tough. You got no traction or anything, but
Exactly.
It's big in at the cradle there at Pinehurst. A lot of people do a round barefoot at the cradle.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what really attracted us to like doing something at Pinehurst, was seeing the cradle. I mean, that's what we're about as a brand, and it just made so much. That was like the selling point right there.
yeah.
I mean, talk about the way golf is changing. The cradle, it's becoming a model that we're starting to see that at a lot of golf courses, a lot of resorts.
Yep.
They're putting those smaller, more laid back music that's playing in the background, a bar there. I think it's another really cool aspect of the way the game is changing.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you don't like that.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can't enjoy that,
Yeah.
what can you enjoy? That's for sure.
Exactly. So that we're actually not doing this year. We're kind of moving that to like the Gosling's Bermuda Classic.
Mm-hmm.
But we might be doing something on Father's Day next year, which we're working on too. But yeah, I mean, Bermuda is, once you go down and you see it, it's unbeatable. You won't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like I said, you don't need to twist our arm any more than that.
I absolutely love it. I've been there a couple times. Elbow Beach, Horseshoe Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the pink sand. We've done
Yeah.
family cruise out there, I think, right out of like Jersey City.
Yeah.
I know you see those boats come through a lot. And
Definitely.
yeah, they were great. I mean, I've loved every minute of Bermuda. Just the vibe, the people there, and just the places. It was awesome.
And this is your first Dark and Stormy?
Yeah, because when I was on these trips, I'm talking like, I don't know, maybe over a decade ago. I wasn't really a drinking age or drinking.
Good. Because if you are a drinking age, we like don't let you leave the island without having.
It's almost unavoidable at that point.
Can't get back on the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
stuff,
Well,
Malcolm.
listen,
No
Mal,
blocking. Third week of September.
Third week of September.
it's all right. I put it in my calendar the first time you said it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I just checked out.
It's here,
on,
and it's in
United.
pen, not pencil.
Yeah.
Anyway, Malcolm, listen, we appreciate it. It's, like I said, perfect timing. Official Dark and Stormy day. What a treat it's been having you here, having you walk us through it. Mike's first one, making them. It's a terrific drink. It's a terrific company. I love everything that you guys do with the game of golf. I love how it intertwines, and it's great to get to hear some of the stories of both how the company and also your involvement in golf happened. So thank you very much, taking the time to come on the show today.
Likewise, and thank you. And you guys are doing an awesome job too. It's really entertaining stuff, and it's great what you're doing for the game of golf.
Thank you
it's
so much.
really cool.
We appreciate that. Hey, I think we all share that common goal of just getting more people into the game and show them how much fun it really can be, and on and off the course. Really the golf culture on and off the course has just been tremendous the way it's expanded in the past couple of years. So again, thanks for coming on the show. It's been great chatting with you, and maybe we'll see you in September.
Yeah, we will see you in September.
There you go.
And you really do have to open up that old rum and try it. It doesn't get any older in the bottle. It's not like a wine.
Okay.
You just got to pop that open and drink it.
That's
Done.
going to
We
be
will.
a nice, relaxing one. Sit outside maybe later and sip that one for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Great talking with you. I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Cheers.
Malcolm.
See ya.
All right. So like I said, first for everything.
Mm.
And I think of all the cocktails to be our first on the show, this was a winner.
It was,
Right
and
out the gate.
yours stayed a little darker and stormier on the top.
Yeah.
I gave it a little
less
extra mix.
to it. I kind of
Yeah,
like it. I
Frank-
kind of like that.
What do you
that
think?
rum.
Gave that one a heavy pour.
This one, I
Yeah.
got a little heavy-handed with it, Zach.
Heavy-handed,
You're right.
Frank here.
I
That-
saw that, and Mike's actually ended up switching them.
Yeah.
I think the one that Mike has right now was going to be Frank's, and Frank was like, "Yeah, I'll get a little bit more in there."
Yeah, no, I know. He gave me the old switcheroo. I was thinking, like Princess Bride. Remember, switch the. If you guys know that reference, then
The old
you're good in my
switcheroo.
book. But I was like, I'm not turning down the extra rum. I'm all
Yeah.
about it. So anyway,
Yeah.
great story. I love being able to have the chance to work with and talk with some of the brands who are so connected to the game that we love. Gosling's is one that if you've been to some of the PGA Tour events, Honda Classic or things like that, you've seen the name. I'm sure it's on the cocktail list at your local 19th hole for sure. And if it's not, you better talk to somebody.
You better talk to somebody. And by the way, we're going to Bermuda.
This
Right.
is cheers to let's line up a Bermuda trip.
Let's go.
Anyway, guys, happy National Dark and Stormy
Yep.
Day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.